All right. Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Post-holiday recap tonight on Carnivore Mastermind. Got a nice little group of us here tonight. Your favorite carnivores, as the title would say. So whoever shows up tonight is your favorite carnivores. Yeah, we're just gonna hang out and chat about our holiday, how it went, what we ate, whether we stuck to carnivore or not. We might have a little confessional area on the side for some of us. We'll see what happens. But so welcome everybody. Welcome if you're on with us live here on YouTube, or if you're in future land watching the replay, leave us a comment. Let us know how it went for you. We're almost there. We're almost to the end of 2024. We've got, 5-6 days left, and then really nothing changes, but you get this sort of feeling like the year starts over, and maybe we can start on a clean slate in case you've had a few ups and downs throughout the season. So thanks everybody for being here. I guess we'll just start going around in a circle like we typically do. Just give us your thoughts, either on the whole season or Christmas Day. What did you make? What did you eat? You need to confess anything, and then we'll just go from there. So we'll start with Bruce. Got to unmute yourself. You're muted.
Darn it. Yes, I am Catholic, and I'm Bruce Keene. Yes, I am Catholic, and so mea culpa, mea gran culpa. Yes, I did cheat significantly more in this holiday than I usually do. Usually, I'm married to a very committed non-carnivore, and she'll glare at me and say, "Don't you dare embarrass me by not eating what's set in front of you." So yes, so I did have a small, when I was at the in-laws, I had a small thing of mashed potatoes. It was good. Mother-in-law did a great job, and yes, I did eat some ginger snaps and a few other decadent treats for Christmas. The way I see it, though, is I can handle a few. I've been carnivore for about 2 years now, and so I'm not really all that worried about it. I pay very close attention to my ketone levels and to my blood glucose levels, and they didn't get too terribly far out of whack. I never left ketosis, so the little bit that I did get didn't seem to cause me too much trouble. I guess after 2 years, it uh, didn't create too much of a problem. So there it is.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Ellie, and I feel like I navigated Christmas well. It actually wasn't all that holly and jolly. We had a little bit of a family emergency that day, but I'm still so thankful that we were able to get together and be together in that moment. Eating wise, my mom made pork shoulder, Puerto Rican pernil, and it's like one of my favorite cuts of meat. And I just like it just has like this crispy skin. And so whenever I basically grew up always having that around the holidays. So I was really excited. I was like, yeah. And I basically just ate that. I just kept eating it until I felt comfortably stuffed. And then that was before all the drama happened, and then later on in the evening I had to leave, unfortunately, and I went home and I was like, I'm going to eat a little bit of apple pie because I'm an emotional eater, and it's something that I have to come to grips with, and at least I own up to it. I think I'm like, okay, you know I it would be better if it wasn't in the house, but of course it was, because it was the holidays and I have people staying with me that are not carnivore. But I think overall I felt really good that I was able to say no to all the other things in the midst of the chaos. And then after home, I kind of was licking my wounds and I was like, okay, so I'll do better next time. But yeah, holidays with the little ones and my husband was absolutely great, and that was really wonderful. And so I'll just leave it with that. That felt really good.
All right. Hi, I'm John Laspina, the Carnivore Teacher, and nothing really changed. We don't celebrate Christmas the way a family does. I don't have any kids. My husband and I, we made a prime rib, a standing rib roast. We put it on our Traeger grill at like 12 o'clock noon and slow smoke it until the internal temperature reaches about 121. We have a wireless thermometer. Greatest investment. And then you pull that out, let it rest for a good 10 minutes, even 15 minutes till it rises to like 127. Slice into that, and it is better than cheesecake. It's better than ice cream. Let me tell you, I'm a sugar junkie. I loved this amazing piece of meat that was just so perfectly done. I put more butter on it, and that was what I ate until I didn't want any more food. There were no sides. Easy to do in our household because we both do it. And it's easy for us because we don't buy it. It's not in the house. It just made it easier. I can see how it would be tempting and it would be challenging if you're eating with a lot of other people and there's all the other stuff on the table. I would probably still try to just stick with the meat if there was. And I know that if I have enough of the meat and the fat, that it just really makes me not want anything else, just like it did for dinner last night. So very simple Christmas. Usually there's a party or two that we go to, and we didn't go to any this year. When we went to parties, we would bring our own sliced meats and cheeses and deviled eggs and make sure that we stuck to eating only our foods or foods that we know are carnivore, but didn't have any this year. So it's the day after Christmas and it's like it didn't even happen almost. So relatively easy this year. Didn't have to worry about falling off the wagon. And if I did, I know that my body is resilient. And just like Bruce said, I'm sure I'd stay in ketosis and just get right back going. Your body has a memory. I do know my weakness is sugar. So if you put cookies or something decadent in front of me, a pecan pie, it would be hard. I'd have to leave the room. I'd have to get it out of my eyesight because it would tempt me, because I used to really, really love that stuff. But luckily, because we didn't have it in the house, it was effortless. So that's how my Christmas went.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, I'm DC, and I'm just looking for optimal health, really, after after dealing with cancer and stuff like that. So my Christmas though was pretty good. Like it's hot, it's summer here in Australia. So me, my wife, and we got together with just two of our friends on Christmas Eve, and we had a barbecue. So that was really good. So I ate a kilo of Wagyu steak, and it was fine. Except, like John, I'm very much a carb addict. I love sugar. I love sweet foods and things like that. So Christmas Day, I did eat just a small square of tiramisu. It was really nice. It was very good. I don't usually fall off the wagon, but I'm not too hard on myself if I do either. It's not something that I do every day, and I think everyone goes through these phases as well. You get complacent, you've been doing things for a number of years, and you feel pretty good, so you get complacent, and you think, oh, one little treat's not too bad, sort of thing. But I had some nice tiramisu, and then yesterday is or the day after Christmas for us, because it's now a couple of days after. I had some big problems. I just couldn't handle it. I had a bit of IBS and things like that going on. So today I am so from yesterday And today I am now fasting just to get it all out of my system. And tomorrow I'll be dry fasting. And this is just something I do if I do fall off the wagon, which does happen every now and then, because I'm only human. When I do go back onto it, I usually do a fast afterwards. It just helps me to sort of re-equalize my body a bit, and everything sort of normalizes, and then I'll start eating again. But I've done, let me see, about 36 hours now. And, I'll probably do this for a total of 3 days. And the last day I'll do a dry fast. It'll be no water as well. So that's just how I sort of get back on the wagon. Okay.
Okay. So first of all, I'd like to say Merry Christmas to everybody and Happy Hanukkah, which I'm Jewish. Hold on a second here. But yeah, yesterday I was by myself, and my kids are in Texas, so they weren't around. But I started the day with 5 scrambled eggs with some smoked salmon. I was so full, and I made bone broth. I took all my T-bone bones that I've been saving up, put them in my slow cooker with a stick of butter and some salt and water. I cooked that all day. And I was so full from my breakfast that all I did was had the bone broth, believe it or not, with some Jarlsberg cheese, and that was my Christmas dinner, was bone broth and Jarlsberg cheese. I just wasn't that hungry, and I was so satiated from because all that fat and the butter and all that from that bone broth. I passed out at, I think it was 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I didn't wake up till 5 a.m. Slept straight through the night. I was just in heaven. So that was my night. I was 100% carnivore, and luckily I didn't have the temptations because I was alone for the evening. So, but I felt really good. Woke up this morning and didn't have the usual, oh my God, what did I do? Which felt great.
That's awesome. Well, thanks everybody for sharing. And I wanted to just quick acknowledge some people that are here. Dizzy Willow's here. Good evening. And Sharon says, hi, I did some baking for others several days ago and I licked the spoon. That caused some fatigue in my legs. Yesterday, I ate 1 huge strawberry and a lot of nuts. Laughing, yeah. Josephine's here. Howdy, beautiful people. A1 Savage is in the house. Hello, everyone. Max just ate steak and ground beef like any other day. So, Keto Simple's here. And yes, baby. What did we make for Christmas? We made a special. So I talked about this on my last live stream. So I have been kind of saving up for our Christmas, or buying things all month to make for our Christmas meal. And so I got rib roast on sale. Well, 1 week they had the small ones, and then the other week they had. Really, when it's my turn, then she comes over here. Someone else talk for a minute.
Sure, absolutely. I would love to know, maybe we can all answer this real quick. Do you feel like you enjoy the holidays more when you're in a better state of health, but you're choosing not to eat those craving, the foods that cause all those craving, the sugar spikes and stuff? Or do you think you enjoy the holiday the opposite? That's something I was curious about.
That's a good question. I never liked the holidays that much. I'm one of those people that I had a lot of depression, to be honest with you, that carnivore and low carb healed me from. And so the holidays for a lot of people, it's a hardest time of year because everybody, the family, the friends, I don't know what it is, but the depression is harder on people during the holidays. And I was one of those people. The last 6 years, I've been really healthy. I've enjoyed the holidays the most. I guess that answers your question, being healthy, because my depression's gone. So the holidays this year and last year and the year before, they just came and went because I stuck mostly, especially this year, with eating healthily. And there's no depression.
I same thing. I had struggled with depression, anxiety. And for the last 2 years, I've been on the carnivore. It'll be, 23 months, January 1st, because February 1st is my 2-year carniversary. But same thing, John. I mean, but for me, but the last 2 years has been completely different. I look forward to it. And I will say last year, I didn't stick to it as much, but I was at a party with my family, and I did have some pie, I think, for dessert. I did have, I think, some mashed potatoes and some veggies, but I wasn't like off the, they had a charcuterie board, they had chicken wings, and, I definitely, there were shrimp, cold shrimp, and I ate a lot of meat. So, I mean, I did, I did pretty well, but I made it a pledge that this year I was going to stick to it. And I did. And I feel really good that I was able to do it. But I think every year, like Ellie, I know you did great. And then you had the pie at the end. Well, that was me last year. I was pretty good, but I had a couple little this or that. And I think every year you get stronger. And I think, Ellie, next year you'll see it. It'll be different. Every year goes by, you get stronger, you feel better, you look better. And, I just think it's a lot easier the further you go into this, because, right, John, it's the confidence.
It is. You become more confident. The more years you have under your belt, the more it becomes part of the regular. It's not a diet. It's a way of life, and it becomes more of a way of life the more years you do it. And it absolutely, when the holidays come, if you have a few holidays where you didn't cheat, then the next few holidays, that's what you do. You don't cheat. And as DC, I always remember when DC called this, it's not a cheat. What do you say, DC? It's a setback, right?
It's a setback. Yeah, there's setbacks, and it was very much so. Like yesterday, it was upset my stomach. It was very much a setback.
Yeah,
but
and you learn from that.
That's just the way I look at it. These foods are, they are very tempting if they're in the house. I try not to have them in the house or keep them in the house because they are tempting. I try not to have access to them. But, there are some social situations. Sometimes you can't avoid that. But that, I think, mindset-wise, you need to look at it for what they really are. These are toxic concoctions dressed up as food or sold to us as food that are not treats. They are setbacks. They set us back. They're taking us backwards away from our goals. So that just makes it easier for me to think about it as well. But I think being healthy does make you more emotionally stable throughout, all these. There are different periods of the year where some people do have struggles. Like they're, like I don't want to bring anyone down, but it's like, Christmas. I've always liked Christmas. I like the atmosphere. I like the decorations and things like that. I've never been big on the commercial side of things, but like when you are healthy, you think a lot easier. I think you're just more stable throughout the year, and I still get a lot of anxiety around the end of the year because, when I was younger, my sister, she took her own life in January, very early in January. And both my diagnoses, like I was diagnosed on the 4th of January in 2012, then again on the 7th of January 2014. So this period of the year is kind of I still get a bit of anxiety about, so it's just, but like when you are on the carnivore diet and you're healthy, you're fat adapted, everything like that, and you're eating properly, you still are like emotionally, I think, far more stable. You sort of just take things in your stride a bit more, I think. So I think that I think it really does help being, just, anyway, that's just the way I think of it anyway.
Yeah, I think that's great. And thanks for the good question, Ellie. So yeah, I thought a lot about this, probably too much, because thinking's my comfort zone. And I think, oh, if I just analyze it to death, then I can't lose, no matter what. But so really, I tried to switch that up a little bit this year and approach the whole month of December, Thanksgiving onward, from a much more feeling based component. Like, how can I embrace, kind of like what you were mentioning, DC, like the spirit of Christmas, like all of the non-food, non-commercially things that really make this holiday special. Like, how can it was more like activity based and like making memories with my kid. I just uploaded a short before we came on tonight with just like pictures and just, little clips of things we did all month. And that was amazing, and the only sad thing is Ben missed most of it because he works really long hours this time of year and can't get any time off. And so that's the only bummer. But, we tried really hard to just take advantage of all of the magic, of this time of year and the true spirit of what it means to, be connected and be grateful and give to others. And, depending on your religious beliefs, having those as a foundation. And so it's like, I just really tried to focus on that. But from a food perspective, like I think starting to say earlier, I, just kept watching for sales. We got a ham at a really good price, which is one of the favorites around here, and a rib roast. That was, I think, a 3-bone, so like 3 ribeyes basically in a roast. And so that's what I made on Christmas Day. I did my first reverse sear on a roast like that in the oven, and it turned out it was a little bit overdone. When I pulled it first, I stuck the thermometer and it was like 110, and it should have been about 115 for medium rare, but I let it go a little too long, and so it was like 125, pushing 128. So it was like medium, but it still was really good. I put a little seasoning on the outside for everybody else, and then I kind of just picked around that for the most part. But then we made for Illy and the rest of the family, we made some paleo gingerbread cookies. And that is what I ended up, I was like, let me just try, because we used coconut flour and no dairy. So it was just coconut flour, arrowroot starch, coconut oil, the spices, and an egg. And that was it, I think. I think that we put a little honey in there for a sweetener. So I was like, let me just try, a little. And I was like, oh, these are pretty good. So, there was a point where, I kind of just, again, it's like, I was pretty good this year. I was on the nice list this year. And so maybe I can get away with one little, but I've had to work on my mindset too about this whole idea of, like you guys have been talking about too, like what it means to fall off the wagon. What do you define that as? How does it affect you moving forward? How do you get back on the wagon so it doesn't turn into this week-long crazy thing? And that's what used to happen to me. Whatever diet I was on, or whatever I was trying to fast, or whatever I would be doing, if I made one mistake, I would just sort of beat myself up to the point where it would turn into this huge, like, self-deprecating, debacle. And then it would be a month and you're basically starting over from what feels like a new again. And so really that's what I feel like I have grown in and conquered myself in, for the most part. It's like, hey, if I do have a day like Christmas Day where, I'm going to eat a couple cookies and it's like, but then the next day, if I can cut that off and start over again and not, like, almost just not even give much thought or analytical, like, oh, why did I do that? Why did this happen? It's like, just start again. It's no big deal. Like, if I coach myself through it that way, I feel like that's a much healthier mindset, at least for right now. And like you all have mentioned too, I think the more holiday seasons we go through, the more refined we'll get and the easier it will be. And I'm proud of myself for making it till Christmas Day. You know, like I had a lot of opportunities to indulge in things because we went out and did a lot of stuff, and there was candy and sugar, and my kid begs for it everywhere we go. And so it's like, there were a lot of opportunities to indulge in things, and I didn't. So I feel like I did pretty decent, but yeah. And I feel, again, really holistically in the best place health-wise that I've probably ever been in my whole life. And so that's something worth fighting for too. And that's a great help when it comes to, I think somebody said, I don't see things as a cheat, they're choices. And so, how I ultimately feel about myself and where I am now, it's like, what choice do I want to make? And sometimes, like yesterday, it was a conscious choice to eat something that was not carnivore, but I felt like mentally that was healthy for me. I made the best version that I could. That wasn't a complete processed, piece of junk. And then today we're back to it. So, hopefully I made more good choices than bad this year. I think, personally, I feel like that's been the case. And so that means we're moving forward. So, let's see, Live Well, Die Well's here. Next year, we'll work on untangling foods from the festivities that put focus on preparing things together with healthier options. Yeah, I like that as well. And Lori's Carnivore Story says we also have 7 birthdays between December 6th and January 13th. So I don't fit in with my family when it comes to cake, etc., but I still attend. It's always awkward. Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah, so I like that too. That Neil, I think like I said in my Christmas video, it was try and make Christmas more about like doing things with your family rather than making it about food. Because I think too much we center everything around, we just get together to eat. That traditionally that's what my family does. They just get together so they can eat a big meal, sort of thing. But like generally speaking, like Christmas is just me, myself, and my wife, and like the decorations that we have on the tree, for example, we make all of those. We make these things together, and we decorate the tree with it. So I think if you did that with your family, it can be a really, I think it'd be a really positive thing to actually make things with your family and spend that time together, actually talking and doing things rather than worrying about what are you having for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and everything in between. So I think that's a much better way to spend. It is for me, anyways. I think it's a much better way to spend Christmas. I
agree, and it should be that way. And the actual meaning of Christmas for those of us who believe for Christianity. I mean, we, with all the commercialization, like what is Christmas? We get away from it. I have a lot of teacher friends, as you know, because I'm a retired teacher, and they're off now. And we go back and forth on social media and phone calls. Let's get together. And it always has to be at a restaurant or around food. It's like, let's meet at the mall. Let's meet at a park. Let's just hang out at each other's home. And they don't want to do that. It's always around a restaurant. So similar to the holidays, why the holidays always have to be 100% food related when it really should be just with your loved ones and activities and what the holiday is supposed to mean instead of food. I mean, I understand that food goes with it, but we, at least in America, we overdo it. It's all junk food. It's true. I remember as a kid, I was born in 1965. So I was a little kid in the early 70s, and it wasn't as much as it is today. We had the walnuts and the nutcrackers, and there wasn't so much junk food everywhere. It was healthier foods. And now we have more really bad stuff for the holidays. Easter's coming up. They've got the chicks, the different colored chicks, and chocolate and Cadbury, and it's just sugar all over the place from Halloween until Easter. And
but
for
it's low
someone like
fat,
me,
so
yeah, for
it's good.
someone like me, it's like a drug. It's
Yeah.
get the stuff out. I have to out of sight, out of mind, or else I'm tempted.
There is a lot
Rick,
of
how was
stuff
your
that we
Christmas?
Oh, there's Rick.
Yeah.
You know, it's been.
Hi, Rick.
It's like, hi. Sorry, I'm late, but I was working, and then the guy I was working with, he got something in his eyes, so we had to go to the hospital,
Oh,
and then to the eye specialist. They had to pick it out, and
oh boy.
it's that was the hospital. It's just one of those days. I should have
All
been
right.
home 2 hours ago. I just got in about 15 minutes ago, so that's why I'm late.
All right.
But Christmas Day,
Glad
whatever.
you
It
could
was like
join
any
us,
other.
Rick.
Yes, glad to be here. It was like any other day. I didn't even leave the house. I stayed here the whole day. I had some heart attack chicken. I had some ground beef stew. I spent time with my little friend over here. As you can see, he's a little biter. Look at that.
Yeah,
Ow.
Milton's getting big.
Oh, yeah, he's growing. Look at this cat. Come here. Stop biting. No, get over here. Oh, look at him.
He's feral.
Look at this. Ow. He's a beast. Yeah, he showed up. Look at how cute he is. Look at that
Yeah,
face.
beautiful.
He's saying hi.
He is getting big. He's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, he's a gorgeous cat. But I give him his raw meat. He loves that. Okay. Problem is he likes to attack the computer screen. But yeah, it was like any other day. I was pretty much here at the house. I had a lot of things I had to do. And then today I had to work because somebody that I know, they were trying to finish up a job, and I had some electrical to do. And it's been one of those hectic days. And hopefully tomorrow I'll have the day off. I've been wanting to make some videos, but I never get the time to do it. I'm always working. It just seems like when I get a little free time, the phone rings, and next thing you know, I'm off to do some other work. So I guess that's, what else can you do?
Well, at least you're busy. That's good.
That's it. Get off that. Don't. My cat's ready to attack the keyboard. No, stop that. Ow, those teeth.
That's
Okay.
awesome. I really appreciate everyone's perspectives about the holidays, because this is like and I think I'm very blessed to be able to say this is the first time Christmas was not good. Like, it was just, there was no family connection. It was unfortunately my sister, she just started having like a meltdown, like panic attacks and screaming, and it just and she has a lot of, and I'm not going to tell her business online, but she has a lot of health conditions, and it just puts it so clear to me that I need to continue to make my health a priority, because I could be just like her, just like, instead of being able to enjoy the moment and being with loved ones, I could be outside crying and screaming for hours and hours on end. And so it's like, when I was able to safely remove myself from that situation, it was like I was able to go home and then look around and see my family and the home that I've created. And that was Christmas Eve. And then Christmas Day, we were able to have that nice time. And my 82-year-old grandma's here in town. And so that's always so special. Every time she comes, I'm just like, come to my house. Let me take care of you. I love you. And she ends up taking care of me more than anything, because she has more energy than I do. But I wanted, if it's okay, I would love to pose this question to anybody. Do you have any advice? DC was kind of touching on it, because I recently lost a friend. He died to suicide last month. And so like times like this, it's like, I just wish that I was able to be with him. And obviously we were saying that the connection is just so important. So I would love it if anyone could give me some advice. I try to give it to God, but it's like in times like this, I just miss him. And it's like, how do you stay away from the food? I've been doing pretty good, I think, but I'd love some advice if we could.
Well, for me, it was my sister, for the same reason. I think we have to realize too that we all have our own journey, and some people just give up. I'd like to tell people not to give up, but at the end of the day, it really is their own journey, and all we can do is just keep them in our hearts. It's I get that way too. I get like when you get sad or depressed, you want to eat because it comforts you. You know, you get that dopamine reaction, and you feel comforted while you're eating. You know, but it doesn't change the fact that you still miss them. You know, so I think you just have to try and put it into perspective, and you know, you can think. You know, just thank God for the time that you had together. Thank them for the time that you did have them and that they were in your life. You know, that's all we can do. And then, you know, the only thing that's really going to help is time. And I mean, it's been a long time for me now, but it's, you know, I still miss her. I still miss my sister.
One thing I would say is because I struggled with suicidal depression and I had those thoughts, but luckily I did not act on those. And if not, probably for my kids, I don't know that I'd be here, but you know, I knew that I just did not want to, you know, be gone and them, you know, not have their father. And that's how bad it got, guys. I mean, you know, suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Just remember that. I mean, and you know, looking back on it now, I go, wow, I can't even believe that I would have felt that way. You know, no, now being out of the fog and being, you know, like healed, you know, like I can't even imagine how it got that bad to where I had those thoughts. But, you know, a lot of, you know, DC, your sister and your friend Ellie, they didn't have the support system or not support system. They didn't have the solution. They, you know, and probably they just didn't know what to do. They didn't know where to turn. You know what I mean? And once you isolate yourself and you're feeling alone, it's really hard, you know? And so it's nobody's fault. You know, these things, it's unfortunate, but they do happen. And for the grace of God, I'm still here. So you know,
Yeah, that's a
it's
good point. Like
amazing.
a lot of people do feel isolated. I mean, for the years, like after the earthquake in Japan, when I was living there, like a lot of people took their own life after that happened because they couldn't see a way out. They felt isolated, like there was no choice for them, you know. And for a lot of years, I felt the same. Like when I was going through treatments, you know, I spent years just, you know, in bed, just staring up at the ceiling. You know, when you're living like that, it's you think about it. Of course, you're going to think about it, you know. And you know, I didn't want to do it myself. I was just hoping I wouldn't wake up, you know, myself, because you know, like you're going through chemo and all these treatments and just basically bedridden, like looking up the ceiling all day long. It drives you nuts. But you just have to. I mean, for me, yeah, I thought about it, and I had days where I was depressed, and I just gave up. Like, there's a difference between thinking about it and just totally giving up. Like, when you totally give up, it's like, well, I just don't care. I didn't even want to lift my arm up. I didn't even want to have a drink of water. I don't care. Just let me rot in the bed. Just did not care at all. But then there are days when you think about it and you think, well, yeah, how much longer can this last? You know, how long can I put up with this? How, you know, my body's broken. It won't get off the bed. I just couldn't physically move. So you struggle. You really struggle, you know. They just feel like they don't have a choice. But I think for me, in the end, there was always something that I wanted to do. I had my days where I just didn't think about anything. I just thought, well, this is it. I just couldn't be bothered. But there are other days where I was like, well, I want to try this. I want to do this. I want to do that. And I think a bit long term in the future. But some people just don't. In that moment, they are completely lost and have no sense of purpose. They feel very isolated because they see the rest of the world getting on with their lives, and they see, well, they've all got it together, but what's wrong with me, sort of thing, you know.
Also,
But,
this morning, I was taking my morning walk, and you guys all know who Dr. Ben Bickman is.
yep.
He did a great video. He has this like classroom. I don't know what it's called, but it's a series of lectures, and it's just like he's your teacher, and you're sitting in his classroom. And he did one on all the antidepressants and serotonin and dopamine and to how the different drugs work, MAOIs, SSRIs. And listen, I took every single one of these things, guys, and it just didn't work for me. But you know, there are medicines that can help with that. But I will tell you, the thing that did work for me was keto and then carnivore. So, you know, if we can just spread the message, Ellie, if we could spread this message, I mean, I am completely and 1000% cured in as far as my, you know, I had bipolar depression for decades. I had anxiety. I had ADHD. I'm completely off all medicines. I don't take anything, zero. And I am like as happy as I was when I was 15 years old. I'm not joking around. But, you know, carnivore, and Ben Bickman talked about it a little bit, is just when you're metabolically healthy, you know, you know, when you do, especially high fat carnivore for mental issues, you know, higher fat really, you know, heals a lot of stuff. And if we could just get that message out to people, maybe we'd try and uplift this, you know, live stream a little bit.
I'm
It's
sorry.
no, but I mean, there is a lot of hope out there, and it starts with eating, you know, a proper diet. It really does.
No, this is an
Yeah.
excellent topic. The way this went, I'm glad Ellie brought it up because we're hopefully we could be reaching somebody right now
Yeah,
who's down there, who's down that
Yeah.
low right now,
yeah,
and you can't see past the fog in front of you to realize that there's another day ahead of you. And when you
Yep.
can, like you said, Peter, when you can feed your brain ketones, fatty acids, and the sugar. So many people have either schizophrenia or bulimia or anorexia or bipolar. So many issues that are related to the brain dysfunction that get fixed, that get repaired, that the answer is in our diet. You change your diet. I've been doing a couple book readings. You change your diet, you change your mind. Dr. Georgia Eads' book is phenomenal. Anybody who's listening to this, I'm telling you, you get busy living. There are things to look forward to in life that you will look back and say, thank goodness I didn't take my life. I have so much to live for. I promise
and
you.
the carnivore,
That's exactly right.
You know, in our medicine. Go ahead, DC.
I'm sorry, man. I was just saying, you're right, John. Like these are, you know, struggles are always temporary. You know.
Yes.
And don't get me wrong. Sometimes they can last a long time. Even a you know, a short time can be 5-10 years. Okay. But that doesn't mean that there's no light at the end of the tunnel. That doesn't mean that you can't get past it. You know. I mean, I'm proof of that. You know, far out. You know, what I was going through with treatments and everything like that. There is, you know, there's always a tomorrow. You know, and you don't have to. I think the biggest thing is a lot of people try and live for other people as well. Don't be afraid to live for yourself. Just think about what you really want, and just don't worry about. I think a lot of people also worry about what people around them think. And that doesn't matter so much because most of the time other people are really not thinking about what you're doing. So you just really need to try and think about what you really want to do. And does all this stuff that you have around you, does any of that really matter? Honestly. So it really... try and get perspective, try and take a step back in your life and just try and, you know, look at 20,000 foot sort of view sort of thing. Have a look at things, you know, with a different angle. You might be surprised just how different you look at yourself, you know.
Yeah. You know, I'm as you know, I've been a carnivore a very long time, but I've had problems as anybody else. I took care of my dad when he got sick. He died in 2012. I took care of my mom for almost 10 years, and she died in 2020. And then right after my mom died came the COVID disaster. So I was just pulled in one direction after the other. And I was on the carnivore diet the whole time, but still, it had effect on me. I looked different. I gained a little bit of fat. It just, I wasn't the same person that I was, and I was very stressed. And then slowly, after my mom died and the whole COVID thing I got used to it. It took me a couple of months, and then everything went back to normal. I went back to the way I was before. It's a slow process. So even if you're eating the ideal diet, you're avoiding all the stuff that you shouldn't eat. The stress still has an effect on you. It had a really big effect on me. I had to put my life on hold. I didn't have a choice. I had two choices. I could either let my mother go to the nursing home and basically die and suffer in the process, or take care of her myself. So I took care of her myself. Yes, I had to change the diapers. Yes, I had to deal with the doctors and the hospital. And I mean, it was just constant all the time. I think I got 3 hours of sleep every day because my mom would keep me up. She'd get upset and have all the problems. Then she'd sleep during the day. It was really a struggle. And then, of course, eventually my mom died. And my friends were kind of surprised. Well, you're not crying about it? I said, well, no, my mom been sick for years. It was only a matter of time before she was going to go. And I did everything that I could, and I had no regrets. So it's like, what else could I do? I did everything possible. My mom was stubborn. She wouldn't join me on my carnivore diet because I don't know why, but watching her get old and weak and then have to do everything for her. But still, it was frustrating. But in the end, I felt like I accomplished something. And really, there's only so much you can do. You can't beat yourself up because of what happened to somebody else. I mean, if you think about it, if somebody died and then you're over there mourning about it all the time, if that person came back, do you think that they would want to see you suffering? I think most of the time they'd say, no, go ahead and keep living your life. And I think that's the best way to respect somebody's memory. Don't put yourself in the hole with the duck food. Just keep going forward, and hopefully things will get better.
That's a good point, Rick. Stress, like even on the carnivore diet, I mean, you may handle it a little bit better than you may have done before, but stress does a lot to the body. It really does. It you get a cortisol response that you just on always anxious like the whole 24 hours. So it makes it difficult to sleep. And it doesn't matter what you're eating at the time. I think it does help, but you're still going to have life events that will stress you out.
Bruce, did you have a comment? I know you tried to jump in there at one point.
Yeah, there've been a couple of times where the conversation was going a certain direction, and it's pretty much gone. It's okay. I guess part of the whole thing though is we are, as far as going back to what we eat for Christmas. I mean, we've always had like gingerbread men and fruit cake and all these all these sweets that are not decidedly not carnivore. In my family, my tradition, we have a dewberry pie. Oh man, that's some good stuff. Also, my grandmother was Czech, so we had authentic Czech fruit kolaches every year at Christmas, and those things are still there. But even Dr. Barry makes a comment that when our ancestors were out in the wild, and they were eating the woolly mammoths, and yes, they were hunting the caribou, but whenever they would run across a berry bush, or if they ran across a beehive, they would go after the sugar. They would go after and they would pick those things clean until they couldn't. But it was a very opportunistic thing. It wasn't something that they did every single day, every single moment of their lives. And that's kind of how I'm thinking about it in terms of Christmas treats. That yes, we can. maybe for 1 or 2 days a year we can indulge in the Christmas treats and then just get right back to it. I don't like the whole idea of falling off the wagon, because that's falling off the wagon. It implies that we don't normally that we're falling off the wagon and staying off the wagon. And for most of us, for me anyway, yeah, I'll have a day or two where I'm eating off planned foods, but then I'll get right back on it and have no problem with it. And I don't. There's no guilt or anything for me that does it. That does it. But anyway, there was a lot of stuff flying through, and I didn't want to be rude and jump in front of anybody, but you guys made some really good points.
I want to just say one thing to tag off what you said, Bruce. For some, you got to know yourself, because there's some people that if they have, a chocolate bar, or like I had my chocolate bar incident for a week, there's some people that is going to set them off, and it's going to send them down a bad road. So you got to just know yourself. If you can go to a Christmas party and have a few cookies, like, or whatever, and then the next day you can get right back on plan and go, hey, no problem. Okay, maybe that's okay. But if you are a serious sugar carb addict to where that's going to like throw you off the reservation for a month or 2 months, so you got to just know yourself.
And it's also possible I might be in denial. I mean, I don't know, but for me, I don't seem to have much of a problem. And somebody mentioned earlier, afterward having a 24 or 48 hour fast period where you just kind of purge everything out of it, and then boom, you're right back on track. So it's never really been a big problem for me, as far as I know. Like I say, I could be in denial, but I don't think I am.
I think know thyself is really good advice. I mean, we're all different. I know me. I can't moderate, so I know how to go forward from there. Because I have tried to moderate. I have, and it doesn't work. I'm like Nia. I just follow. I just keep going. I have to totally have it out of the house. I can't have a cookie, but that's me. Some people can have it during a holiday. So, when I give advice, I hope people understand it's coming from my perspective, and it's not necessarily everybody. Now, you have to find out what works for you and listen to what everybody has to say, because, a lot of stuff DC says rings, a lot of stuff that Rick says. It's like, wow, I never thought of it that way. It plants these ideas and you grow. So absolutely keep an open mind, but definitely know yourself. And sometimes we test ourselves and we reinforce the fact that, yep, I can't do it. I tried it again, doesn't work. And that's also a good thing to do, is to test yourself. You build your confidence in your knowledge that you know how far you can go. And for me, it's all or nothing. I'm 100% carnivore. If I go 99%, I can't get the thoughts out of my head. It's almost impossible.
Yeah, once you get the taste, the cravings set in.
That's me.
Yeah.
That's why I like all of you so much, because you teach me something that I don't know. The fact that somebody could be addicted to something that I call duck food is a real wake-up call. Because, it's like, I see this crap, and it's like, oh, you drive by the Krispy Kreme or whatever that donut place is, it has a neon sign that says hot now. And I look at these people, I think, who cares if it's hot now? That's nasty. But then I see everybody else. It's like, wow, they get tempted by this stuff, and then it's like a drug, like an addiction. It's like cigarettes or alcohol or something like that. And again, if a person has a problem with addiction, like if they're smoking and they quit, they're not going to say, oh, I'm going to have one cigarette. And then what's going to happen next? They're going to smoke the whole pack. Or I'm going to have just a little bit of alcohol. Next thing you know, they're in the ditch, passed out. So thanks to you, I realize that when it comes to carbohydrate processed foods, the same thing can happen to so many people. I mean, at least half of you. I mean, there's just a lot of people that have this problem. For me, it's like nothing. Oh, you want a donut? You want a cookie? I'm like, I don't want that crap, and you can give it to me. I'll put it in my pocket, And as soon as I go to the canal, you know, throw it to the ducks.
Know that that's a blessing. That's a blessing, Rick, to have that. I wish
what
I
would
was
happen?
like that.
But what would happen if somebody gave you donuts or cookies or something you like? I don't think you'd put it in your pocket. I think you put it in your mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
funny.
I don't eat one cookie. I eat the packet.
Oh God.
For me, I can say no when
Yeah.
I'm outside the home, but if it sneaks its way in, I can't.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
very
Bruce is
much the same. I have to be,
I
you
got
know, monitoring
I
what comes in because things
got
that
these
come in.
for
I mean,
for what happened.
go
Oh.
ahead. There's just a lag, I think, in that. So we end up.
I think he's like
you there?
frozen and then unfrozen
You
is
might be
what's happening.
frozen.
He's frozen right now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm the same way. I feel like if things sit around in the house too long, they'll start talking to me.
Yeah.
Even if, I mean, but there again, I notice it's only certain things. Like, you know, I bought these. You know, not to trigger anybody. I won't name names, but like this candy item because it's something that Ben really likes, and I just put it way up in the back cupboard behind a bunch of canned goods, and like it was up there for a good 10 days and I forgot, you know, like that didn't bother me. I didn't go eat them or anything like that. So like I don't know, it's just for me, it's certain things that I can look at and be like, no, I don't want any of that. And then other things I'm like, oh, you know, those tempt me. So I'm in some weird mix of moderator and abstainer. I don't quite understand, but I do think a lot of it has to do with the microbiome. Where did that comment go?
Well, I think you know, a lot of it is preferences
like,
too. Like you don't like every junk food. Sort of thing.
I think there are microbes in, you know, in our guts, and some of them just don't want to die, and they keep you craving certain things. That's my theory anyway, because I think anyway, I could go on about that because I think there's something to do with that, because it literally will flip switches in your brain, you know.
Yeah, they do. Like, you know, ice cream is one thing. Like for me, like there are a lot of things I can abstain from. I don't really care, you know. But some things, like if they're in the house, like they'll speak to me all day until it's gone. You know, I have to eat it until it's gone, and that's ice cream. You know, I have to have it if it's in the house. Like I could sit there and eat a whole tub. But going back to that thing, they're talking about detox. I think the best thing people can do if you want to detox is to fast. You know, I think a lot of today's problem is that, you know, our bodies are not designed to always be processing food. Always, you know, we're not supposed to be grazing like a cow, right? We're supposed to be like feast and famine sort of thing. So if you want to detox, I think fasting is the best way to do it, because your body just needs time without having to process the food, you know, constantly trying to get that out of your system. Your lymphatic systems will really thank you for it. You know, you give you time to get those lymph fluid around the body, and you actually produce more hormones in a fasting period. Plus, you get more ketones to the brain and things like that too. So don't be afraid to just, if you're not really hungry, don't eat. You know?
I just wanted to take a quick second to say thanks, everyone, for giving me that advice, and everybody in the comments. That was really, really helpful. And I feel like every time I come on here, I am just like 1% better. And so I really, really appreciate that.
No problem.
Okay, well, we are sorry, I'm being distracted here on the side, so I wasn't listening to what you said, but I know it is just now been an hour, so maybe if you want to just do a quick final thoughts before signing off. This was great. I'm glad that we got kind of to go around these different topics tonight, because it can be a very joyful and fun and happy time of year, but for many people it can be quite difficult. And so I think it was great to touch on both sides of how to approach that and how food fits in and different mindsets about it. So I think this is a super productive conversation. And that's why I love doing these, is because you get tonight, 7 different, slightly different ways of thinking about this. And so that's helpful if you're somebody, navigating a specific question, and you can say, okay, well, this specific way of handling it resonates with me. I'm going to try that. And so that's why I like doing these, and appreciate everybody coming on and sharing their opinions and experiences and thoughts. Yeah, we'll just go around and give everybody a quick, 30-second final thoughts, and then we'll sign off for today.
Okay. I guess I start then. Yeah, the bottom line is, I think we just need to make sure that we don't beat ourselves up about anything that we might or might not have eaten. And it just, ultimately we're carnivores. Yeah, every once in a while we might slip and eat something that's not carnivore, but it's no big deal if you've blown it so big like I have. Then yeah, just take a couple of days of fasting, and that'll get you right back on track. But get right back in there, and the main thing is the main thing, and its main thing is meat.
Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. So my closing thoughts are, holidays are about family, and whether it's on the day or the day after the holiday, that's what it's all about, is that connection and truly being gracious and having all this gratitude for all the things you do have in life, and to be thankful for the newfound health. Or if you're just starting on your carnivore journey, the beginning, learning about where you can be and that potential that comes from it. And so for me, holidays were a little sad this year, but I'm looking forward to every day that comes after this. And I know that if I'm fueling my body correctly, which I have been, besides the apple pie, but I got right back on it. And so just want to give that encouragement to everybody, to do your best and believe in yourself, because you can do it.
Yeah, I agree. Don't beat yourself up. I mean, everyone at certain points, whether it's the holidays or any other time, don't beat yourself up over food that you've eaten, or you've fallen off the wagon. Just know that you can get back on it, as soon as you can. Like I try to get back on the next meal, sort of thing, or like I'm doing right now. I'm fasting. Because we're all human, and we've all grown up with these very addictive foods and so on, sugar and so on. It can be a struggle, and especially like this time of year, like I was saying before, it can be quite a struggle for a lot of people. I think the most important thing for you to get through the holidays is perspective. Try and put everything into perspective and how it works for you in particular. Don't worry about how it works for everyone else. Just think about, okay, is this food getting me to where I want to go? If I eat this, how's it going to make me feel? Tough times, they're temporary. Like we were talking about before, they don't last. Next month is January. And after that, it's February. So think about the things that you want to do and just stick with that, and just do your best to follow the path that you want, not don't sort of look at everything around you as that's the end, that's all there is, sort of thing. Okay. I hope you all have a great New Year's, and make 2025 your healthy year, the best year you can for yourself, and don't beat yourself up about it.
I'm really going to just focus on being the best person I can be, the best dad, best son, best partner, best friend, best coworker that I can possibly be, and forgive myself, because I have gone off plan a couple times this year, and obviously it's less and less every year. It seems to be less and less, but just try and refine the diet. Try and stick to it a little bit more each month, each week. And I know that this diet has just absolutely changed my life, and I know that it's going to continue to change my life going forward. So with as my confidence grows and grows, and as I feel better and better, again, I just want to focus on being the best person that I can possibly be. And I wish everybody out there happy holidays and a wonderful, happy, prosperous, and fantastic new year.
All good words of wisdom. And a lot of times people think that things happen to them. And it's true that some things can happen to you. But a lot of times the things that happen to you are because you put yourself in a particular place at a particular time. You can see Peter over there driving his car. If you're driving your car and you steer into a ditch, the next thing you know, you're stuck in the mud. That's a decision that you made. So on your diet and your life journey, a lot of times you might say, well, I might eat this cookies or cake or whatever, and that's fine. But if you're the kind of person that ends up in the ditch, it might be better to just avoid it. Stay on the road and keep going straight and just try to avoid the pitfalls. Don't drive into the potholes, go around them. That's the way to go. And the thing is, the longer you travel on this road of life, the less likely you are to fail because you build experience. It's like anything else. Practice makes perfect. If you continue to do things that make you feel good and they keep you motivated, you're not going to want to go back to what you were. You don't want to go back to what I call the duck food, sitting there waddling and quacking. You want to go and you want to eat the good food and you want to meet great people like you meet here and just keep on. And the encouragement builds one person and builds another. We're not trying to tear anybody down. I may make fun of duck food and all that, but I'm not going to make fun of you because you ate duck food. I may laugh about it, but it's just the way I am. I'm just trying to encourage you to laugh at yourself. And that's what I do. I'm a nut. I'm a quack. I call myself the carnivore quack. I'm not an expert, and I laugh at myself. I live in a dumpy house. I drive junky cars. I ride a bicycle. That's a crazy person. I'm not the guy with the Ferrari or the Lamborghini and the fancy condo or the McMansion with the yacht. No, that's not me. I do the best I can with what I have, and you can too.
Exactly, Rick. Very good.
Amen. Amen. Rick, absolutely. Gratitude. I like what Ellie said. When we give thanks for what we have, when we actually get a piece of paper, draw a T-chart and list all the things for which you're grateful. And yes, list some of your challenges. You'll notice the grateful side is longer. It's enormous compared to some of the things that you think are challenges. And then it brightens your day. You realize things are not as gray. Forgive yourself. A lot of us don't do that. We're extremely hard on ourselves more than anybody else. Forgive yourself. That's my big flaw. I'm too darn hard on myself. I'm a perfectionist and I have to let that go. And I'm reminded to do that a lot. Know yourself so that you know what your weaknesses are, and forgive yourself and start over. And when you start over, you're actually not starting from the beginning. You're starting way ahead because you've already established your way of eating. You know how to eat. You're already in. You can get into ketosis very quickly. You're fat adapted. So it's not like you're starting all over again when you go back to eating properly. And just be true to yourself. And this one's a hard one for me. Don't worry about what everybody's thinking. My whole life, I worried about what everybody else was thinking. And of course, I was miserable in the process. That was part of my depression. What Carnivore's given me is a lot of self-confidence. And I learned how to love myself. You love yourself first, then you have the ability to take care and love the people around you. I learned that as a teacher too. You have to take care of yourself before you can be there for other people. So just so much great advice from everybody on the screen. Take a little bit of what everybody said, put it all together, and have a wonderful 2025. And the way to great health is, it's through good sleep and stress management and exercise, but it is our diet. So, eat carnivore and it really helps you feel great.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, everybody, again, for being here and sharing your time and thoughts and experiences with us. And I, too, want to wish everybody a beautiful rest of December and a happy 2025. We'll be doing this again on January 9th, Thursday. And so we will see you again for that. Thank you for just got some tea here from Ileana's kitchen. So, yeah, thanks everybody. And I appreciate everybody watching and being in the chat tonight. So we will talk to you all again soon. Have a fantastic evening. Good night, everybody.